Lots of people are thinking about making a move to Whittier, California, and for good reason. It's a pretty great city, but that doesn't mean it's the right fit for everyone. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the need to know pros and cons of living in Whittier so that you don't get stuck living in a city that you hate. My name's Jackie Robles and I am a local realtor. If you want to talk about anything real estate, my information is listed below, and just make sure to send me a message, book a call, whatever works for you. But now let's get into the pros and cons of living in Whittier, California. The number one pro for Whittier is going to be its affordability. Whittier, you're definitely going to get the best bang for your buck, especially compared to a lot of the surrounding cities in the Los Angeles and Orange County area. But let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Let's see how much a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Whittier costs. Say that Whittier affordability is one of the great things about Whittier. Let's take a look at what homes are selling for in some of the surrounding cities. So we're going to look at Towne, Whittier, La Mirada, and La Habra. These are some of the bigger cities that surround Whittier. So for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house currently in the city of Towne, they're selling for $785,000 on average. And then in Whittier, you can see that that same house is going to sell for, are likely to sell for $756,000. And then La Mirada is up to $790,000, practically $800,000. And then La Habra is even higher at $861,000 for their average 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. So that's why we mean that you're going to get a little more bang for your buck. If so it's a really good city for first-time home buyers. You have tons of different neighborhoods in Whittier, so there's different prices. Let's talk about the number 2 pro about Whittier, California, and it's actually going to be the Whittier food scene. Do not sleep on the Whittier food scene. Even the LA Times wrote an article about it a few years back about some of the many great restaurants here in Whittier. So one of my favorite restaurants that was actually featured in this article is Whittier Ca. It's on Philadelphia Street. I'll drop the address here in case anyone wants to check it out. They're a authentic kind of feel like you're having grandma's cooking, but with like a culinary twist. They have really great aguas frescas and a lot of drinks. I feel like their menu changes pretty often, so you always have a lot of great options there. Another one that the article mentioned was the Rusty Monk, which is in Uptown Whittier as well, and it's a Belgian style pub. They have really great pretzels. That's my favorite thing if you ever want to stop by there. But you can't go wrong trying any of the restaurants in Uptown Whittier. There's tons of different options if you're looking for vegan food, Mexican food. A lot of the restaurants there recently did some renovations. There's a whiskey bar that I've been meaning to check out that I haven't been to. I've heard they have some pretty good stuff. Dropping all these restaurants. We're going to have to make a video where we kind of food map all the great restaurants in Whittier. So make sure you check back on the channel for that. But now that we've talked about all the really great food options, I'm going to tell you the number 3 pro in Whittier is going to be you can lead a pretty active lifestyle here. And on the con side, Whittier is not a very walkable place. You're going to need a car like you need in most of LA and Orange County. But to go hiking, we do have Hellman Park, Sycamore Canyon, and Turnbull Canyon. And within those 3, there's a bunch of little different hikes you could do. One of my favorite to do is the Mariposa hike. It's like a 45-minute little trail in the Hellman Park area. So you can be up and back really quick. Sometimes the hikes get a little crowded on weekends, so try to get there early if you do want to do that. Trail, if you want to do a little something not as intense as the hike, but still want to go for a walk throughout Whittier, that's a really cool one. So yeah, overall Whittier isn't super walkable, but we do have options if you want to go for a hike, and that's really cool. Not a lot of the cities around here have, not a lot of other cities in this area back up into these mountain ranges, or I don't know if they count as mountains, but where you can go hiking as opposed to having to drive up to LA or even deeper into the OC to go hiking by the beach and things like that. It's cool to have these quick little trails to just go get a hike in when you can. The number 4 pro about Whittier is going to be its schools. Whittier has its own school systems, Whittier Union. So there's 4 different high schools throughout Whittier, and we even have 2 different colleges. We have Rio Hondo Community College, and then we have a small private college, Whittier College, that even Richard Nixon, our president, attended. So that's always our little claim to fame here in Whittier. And then now let's get into the number 5 pro about Whittier is it's a pretty friendly city. So it's a great place to raise kids. It's a good place to settle down. We have 23 different parks. You have concerts in the parks in the summer. You have different youth sports activities. So there's tons of stuff for the whole family here. And even if you don't have kids, it's still a pretty friendly city. So it's a nice place, especially if you're looking to live here long term. Now that we've talked about all the great things about Whittier, it's time to get into some of the negatives. And this doesn't bother everyone, but it's not that it bothers me, but it is a con for me. And that is that Whittier doesn't have great freeway access. And I know if you are on the west side of Whittier, Los Nietos area, you're really close to the 605, just skip and a hop and you're good to go. But most of Whittier, you're gonna be about 10, 15, even 20 minutes away from a freeway. So that can make your commute double the size if you were in a different city that was more accessible to the freeways. And I know sometimes people like to be like, oh, Whittier is really great because it's in the middle of Orange County and Los Angeles County. And it is, but because of the lack of freeway access, because of the lack of freeway access, sometimes that commute gets even longer. So I know 20 miles isn't very far, but 20 miles in Southern California can take you well over an hour. So that's something to keep in mind, the lack of freeway access. And that brings me to number 2 is there's not a ton of, like, I wouldn't say that there's not job opportunities, it's that there's not going to be tons of large businesses here in Whittier, which is also great for helping it stay like a very tight-knit community that is not, you know, full of traffic and hustle and bustle, but you're likely going to have to commute to your job if you live in Whittier. And so that kind of so 1 and 2 kind of go hand in hand, and it's not great freeway access, and most people have to work outside of the city. Most people don't work in the city of Whittier that live here, which is actually, it can be a pro for some people, not having the freeway access, because you don't get as much of you don't get a lot of outside traffic, people coming in as a connector city. Like if you're in Downey, the traffic's way worse because you are right where all the different freeways meet and you have a lot of people coming through. And then pre-con for Whittier, while it's a very friendly city, definitely family oriented, there's not a ton of nightlife. We do have Uptown Whittier, there's a few bars, there's some breweries, but it's not going to be anything crazy. Not this. If you're looking for a wild Friday night, Whittier is not the city for you. So I hope this helps you get a little more insight to what it's like living here in Whittier. If you have any more specific questions that you would like to ask me, or you want to talk about anything real estate related, my information is listed below. Feel free to book a call, shoot me a text, whatever works best for you. If you stuck around to the end, let me share one of my favorite little hidden gems of Whittier is La Bodega Brewing Company. So when you walk in, it's in Uptown Whittier as well. And when you walk in, it looks like you're kind of just in a butcher shop, but it's actually a secret speakeasy when you go behind what looks like the refrigerator door. So make sure you guys check that out next time you're in Whittier, California.